Alright, girls. Now today we're going to be talking about indirect questions and how they work. Alright, now first of all we need to remember what kind of questions there are, what kinds of questions there are. Now we'll be concentrating on two types of questions, the yes-no questions, and WH questions. General questions and special questions. Well, for example, a yes-no question could be, do you smoke? Do you smoke? And WH question would be, where do you live? Where do you live? Now, what happens in indirect questions? In indirect questions, you start your question with some special phrase that makes your question, more tentative, more polite. Okay? For example, well, what is the difference between these two questions? Oksana, do you smoke? Or, Oksana, could you tell me if you smoke? Well, could you tell me if you smoke? This is much more polite. So it's an indirect question. Now, how do we make indirect questions? Now, there we go. So first you say the polite phrase. Could you tell me? Could you tell me? And then you take your question and you put it here. Could you tell me? Now let's see what happens. Could you tell me, do you smoke? Correct? Well, not correct, people. This is not correct. Now, why it's not correct? Because this big question consists of two parts. Part number 1 and part number 2. Guys, in part number 1, you already have questioning position of words. You already have the question here. Could you? That's a question, right? It's a question position of words. Now, if at the beginning you have the questioning position of words, then in the second part of your sentence, you should not have questioning position of words. You should have standard, affirmative, positive position of words. So it will be like this. Could you tell me?
If.
Could you tell me? If you smoke. If you smoke. But now, good question is, what is if? What is if? What is this? Well, this is a special particle, this is a special connector that connects this part, the first part and the second part. And in the Russian language, this part is called, this is how you say li, right? Could you tell me if you smoke? Alright? Not, could you tell me, do you smoke? They're all total nonsense. Could you tell me if you smoke? Alright? Now again, what happens in indirect questions? First, you have this phrase, the polite phrase, like could you tell me, would you tell me, can you tell me? And then in the next part, you have your question, but actually it's not a question anymore, it's a statement, so you have a affirmative position of words. Not, could you tell me, do you smoke? Nuh-uh. Could you tell me if you smoke? Now, if is used only in yes-no questions. In WH questions, guys, well, you have pretty much the same logics, Could you tell me? But you don't need if here. Why? Because you already have a question word. So let's try. Could you tell me where do you live? Correct? Not correct. Why not correct? Because you already have question here. Questioning position of words, you have it here. Could is at the beginning, so it's a question. So you have a question here at the beginning of your sentence. So here in the second part of the sentence, you can't have questioning position of words. In the second part of your sentence, you should have standard affirmative position of words. Now, could you tell me where
You live.
Absolutely. Could you tell me where you live? This is it. Now, this is called indirect questions. So, once again, let's summarize. When you ask somebody an indirect question, you should remember that your question is actually at the beginning of your sentence. Could you tell me? Can you tell me? Do you happen to know? Do you know? And so on. And the second part of your sentence, is already not a question. It's a statement. It's an affirmative statement. So you cannot have a questioning position of words there. Well, this is what indirect questions are. Now, we use indirect questions to make our questions more polite, more tentative. All right, thank you.